This is the Pam Souter Podcast. With over 2 decades of field and corporate experience and voted one of the most influential women in direct selling, Pam helps mesh the daily needs of distributors to everyday life challenges. It's time to get over yourself, fire up your productivity, work less, and live more. Learn the self-limiting hashtag F-bombs holding you back, fear, frustration, and failures, and turn those F-bombs into friendships, fun, and freedom. Ready? Let's get this party started.
As a mom, you feel guilty when you're working and guilty when you're not. So I tried blending it into my life instead of using the word balance, which always threw me off into another direction. All right, so what does that mean for most of us? Well, we want to work. I loved and still enjoy being a mom, even though my children now are grown and out of the house. At the time that I started in this career of network marketing, my son Adam was 10, my daughter Kay was 7, and they were active, very active in extracurricular activities. We were active as a family within the church and school. My husband was working full-time. Most of the time he was out on the road, like Monday through Thursday and sometimes Monday through Friday with overnight stays. So we had a very busy life, and I really wanted this to work for me, so I had to figure out a way without feeling guilty all the time. And in the beginning, that was really tough because, let's face it, we get excited. We get very driven, very motivated. We finally discover something that we enjoy doing, and we sense those unlimited possibilities, so we want to work. And a lot of us, we get caught up in it. We want to work all the time. Our husband starts to feel a little neglected. The children start to feel neglected, but we feel exhilarated. And so for a while, it can be like nobody's happy. However, you're happy. That mom is happy. So how do we overcome all of that? I call it the lustful stage in the beginning of building your business. And that's when you fall in love with it. You're excited about everything that's going on. You're meeting new friends. You're learning a new language, a new way to talk. You've met people from all over the world that you never could have met before. You're invited to go to conventions or to different cities. That's all exciting. However, that takes time away from the family, and instead of using the word investment, a lot of us use the word sacrifice, and I liked to use the word investment. So how did I overcome it? What I did is I had a sit-down talk with Dave, because one morning he blew a gasket. Here it is, 7:30 in the morning. We're getting the kids ready for school, and the phone starts ringing. This is before text messaging, anything like that, and he's pretty much had it. He's like, we never get any free time. You're always on the phone. And what I would do is I would deny that. I would say, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. When in reality, for him, I was always on the phone. But see, I loved being on the phone. I loved talking to new business, new people, and creating that. So to me, it wasn't a job. I was doing something fun, doing something special. So I stood there and looked at him as he had a little temper tantrum, and I decided to be just very open and very honest. And I said, look, I know I'm on the phone all the time. I know it looks like I'm working all the time. However, I'm doing this for us. This is just not about me. I have discovered something that I really want to do, and I want to take us along the journey to doing this. And I know you trust me. I know you love me. So just give me some leeway here. Let me see what I can do. And I didn't give him an ultimatum like give me a year and let's see what we can do. This was going to be my career. I wanted to do this for the rest of my life. So I needed it to work. I needed it to work for our family. I needed it to work for me. So we talked. We hashed it out. He felt better, I felt better, and that doesn't mean it was smooth sailing for the rest of my life. We've had to work through things all along the way, and with the kids as well. So what did I do? I made a schedule. I made a perfect day. I talked about my perfect day in the beginning of my career, and I wanted that perfect day to really, truly happen. So what I did is I started out my morning, and I told everybody on my team that they couldn't contact me until after 9 o'clock, after my workout. So I made specific rules that worked for me and my family, and I wanted my team to adhere to those rules. Now, what did that create? It created a great day, but it also taught my team that they could have that kind of day too, that they didn't have to work 24/7. A lot of people will say to you, I want what you have, but I don't want to work all the time. And so you need to look at what you're doing and what you're projecting out there, because if they're seeing that, you're going to have less people join. What you want is people to join you because they see that you have that lifestyle that they're wanting. So how do we get that lifestyle before the money starts flowing? We just do it from the beginning. We can make decisions on how to blend this into our family life instead of using that word balance. Because if you're in balance, nothing's really happening. I feel like it's all balanced out. It's kind of slow moving. I think this business loves speed, and I like that part about it. So you couldn't call me till 9. After 9, I could go into some work mode, depending on the day, depending on what else I had to do as far as activities. But pretty much you could catch me after 9. Typically, I would have a lunch meeting. It could be lunch or coffee. I would try to schedule one of those at least every day. And then at 3 o'clock, the kids would come home. And so I turned everything off. The computer went down. The phone went down. I focused on the kids because I knew that they had stuff to tell me, and they wanted to tell me when they got off the bus, or we could lose that special moment. And then we did some homework if we needed to, ate a snack. They typically went out and played. Yes, get them outside. And I usually went with them. And we would ride bikes, we would ride toys, we would play hide and seek, whatever. I wanted to be very active in their life at that time. And then around 5, we would come in, start on some more homework. I would start dinner. We ate dinner in just about every night unless we had an activity. And again, the kids were very busy in sports and music, so we had a lot of outside activities that we would attend in the afternoons. Then we would come home, and there would be, if we needed to come home or we would already be there, we would have bath time, then bedtime, and then at 9 o'clock would roll around. And instead of going in and sitting in front of the TV, which we logically do. I don't know why. It's just, to me, it's just such a waste of time. If Dave was not there, I would get on the phone and I would work those phones and the time zones. And that might go from 9 till midnight. But I never felt tired. I never felt like I had to do it. I wanted to do it. It was just a part of my life and what I wanted to create. So if you think about it, I worked from perhaps 9 to 12. And then I would have a lunch, another working hour. I might then come home, take care of the household chores, whatever it needed to be taken care of. But I was putting in some hours. If you think about it, 9 to 12, then a lunch, that's 4 hours. Maybe another hour in the afternoon, that's 5. Maybe 3 hours, that's an 8-hour day. Now, a lot of you go, wow, I don't have that. Well, I had huge dreams. I had big, big dreams. I wanted more for my family and was willing to take that time that I had out there and do this. And so that meant less girlfriend time. It meant less TV time, but it was worth it for me. And with the way that I look at my life today, it was such an investment, not only in the time then, but in the decades to come. And I'm so glad that I invested that time. I also read every single day from an inspirational book. I'll get a cup of coffee first thing in the morning and sit down and do that for at least 30 minutes so I can get my mind right. So I find that that's very, very important. And I turned my car into a listening machine. I would, at the time it was cassette tapes, and now of course we're listening to YouTube, listening to a book on Audible. Whatever turns you on, listen, turn your car into that arsenal of knowledge. And the kids grew up in that, and they would a lot of times repeat over and over some of the things that I was listening to, but I felt like that was great foundational learning for them as well. And so create that day. what does a wonderful day in your life look like? And if you're working full-time or part-time, you can etch out the time for this business and feel like that you are taking care of your own personal business. I just read where 43% of all women that have a child now come home. And that wasn't the case back in the day. Everybody was working, and it just had started. You know, my mom was a stay-at-home mom back in the 50s and 60s. Most women did stay home, and then that changed in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Everybody was working. It was like the thing to do. And that's when I think a lot of the guilt set in, and we started feeling like we were missing out on too much of our children's lives. And I never felt that way. I felt like I could do it all and have it all. And I guess with that attitude, I created that. And so don't look at your children or your spouse as an obstacle to overcome. Look at them as a reason to get out there and work. I call it arguing for your limitations. A lot of you argue about the lack of time that you have. You might have 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there. Well, you could get online and post something that 100 people see. And that would have taken months. I would have had to write letters, or at the time we were getting email, but not everybody had it. So use today's technology to your advantage and get on there with your spare time or very little time or no time, and stay consistent and persistent in your business. And you can build a truly strong residual income just by doing that and duplicating your efforts through that. So you could build that residual business that you always wanted. And what does that mean? That means leveraging your time. This is the biggest thing that each one of us should understand. I'll give you a little math here. If you bring in one person each month, just one new distributor in your business, and you start them off gathering those customers, building a distributor, and they duplicate that, and they each bring in one person each month. That's all anybody's doing. Gathering a few customers and bringing in one new team member each month. So you started off month 1, you have one. Month 2, you have another, and they've recruited one. Do you know at the end of 12 months, 1 year, you would have 4,000 distributors in your business? And that is residual income, that's duplication, and that's compound money. That's what that is. It's just compounding time and money. And when I realized that, I heard that probably 30 years ago. I'm like, wow, that's the kind of life that I want. I want to leverage my time. So you do that through simplicity, duplicating, and residual income. No one else really has the ability to make residual income unless they're perhaps a star off of a movie, or they're in life insurance, something like that, something that's renewable each year, maybe health insurance, maybe you're Elvis Presley or Michael Jackson, but 99% of us aren't, or probably 99.9. So the only other way that I know to create this type of residual passive income is through this industry of network marketing, direct sales. So I wanted to capitalize on that. And the way that I could do that is by creating that day, staying persistent and consistent in that day, and then duplicating my efforts by keeping it simple, by keeping it honest, and by guiding people along the way and helping them create whatever they wanted, whether it was $200 a month, $300 a month, all the way up to thousands of dollars per month. But staying within their line of integrity too, and that's really important, and not trying to push your dreams, your wishes off on them, and allowing them the opportunity to move in the right direction and respect them all along the way, wherever that direction is. And that was vital too, is be able to say, not trying to push something down on them that they weren't really ready to capitalize on or to put the amount of time in. So go out, create your day. Create the day that you want, In the beginning, it might look like bits and pieces, and you're just blending it through your day, which means I'm at the ball field. I'm starting to talk about the product or the opportunity. Maybe you have a branded shirt on. Maybe you have a card with you that you can hand to somebody, and they respond back, and then you meet for coffee. It can happen just like that. You could be at Target having a conversation with a mom that has 3 kids in the cart and she just got off work. And you don't know what's going on in her mind. However, you feel that nudge to perhaps hand her your information or become friends on Facebook, and you can start developing that relationship from there. And that's what I did. I just blended it through my day and captured the moments that I could and put them to work and stayed persistent and consistent. And you'll have over 4,000 people in your organization because you're going to recruit more than one. As the confidence grows and builds, they're going to recruit more than one. Some won't recruit any, and that's okay too, because you still have your why. It's as strong as ever. You know exactly what to do now. You know how to build off of that. You're going to blend it within your life so you don't feel guilty when you're working and you don't feel guilty when you're not working. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Pam Souter Podcast. Be sure to check out my website at pamsouter.com. There you can get inspired, listen to more podcasts, read and submit Ask Pam questions that could be featured on an upcoming podcast episode. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, much love and appreciation.